I just blew up an AI-powered dropshipping store to over $100,000 in under 30 days. And in this video, I'm breaking down the raw, unfiltered results and how AI actually built my store, validated my product, created my ads, everything. Look, most beginners test 5 or 10 different products, hoping something sticks, while taking advice from people who haven't even ran ads in the past year. That approach works if you've got $5,000 to burn. But when you're starting with $100, you don't get the luxury of guessing. You can't afford opinions, and you can't afford trial and error. You remove doubt by plugging into what is already working from people who are actively winning right now. And then you build systems that remove as much risk as possible. That's exactly why the store that I scaled wasn't from luck. I scaled it using what I call the AAA framework. Already trending, already proven, and available to improve. Already trending meant I wasn't trying to create demand from scratch. I was looking for products that were already getting organic traffic on TikTok and Instagram. Products that people are already searching for and talking about. Already proven meant that I could see competitors actively selling it right now, where I wasn't guessing whether people would buy it or not. I could verify it with real sales data and Facebook ads that have already been running for weeks. Available to improve meant that there was a clear gap in the market. The competitors were leaving money on the table with bad branding, boring ads, or terrible websites. And after 3 hours of research, just scrolling through TikTok with the AAA framework in mind, I found my product. A daily Bible journal for women. A guided journal designed for daily spiritual practice with scripture prompts, gratitude sections, and reflection pages. And look, the numbers I was seeing were insane. 265,000 likes on one video. And for context, most viral dropshipping products top out at 50,000. And this was already 5x that. Then another at 21,000, another at 6,000. And I mean, people were scaling this like crazy. And not only that, but it checked every single box. First, it was timeless. Religious products aren't seasonal like Halloween costumes. People buy them consistently all year. And I was launching in early July, which means that I had months to build momentum before the Q4 gifting rush supercharged everything. Second is strong emotion. This wasn't a commodity like a phone case. This was a tool for spiritual connection, for reducing anxiety, and for finding peace. On top of that, it still solved a major problem. People genuinely struggle with consistency in their faith and need structure to stay connected to God. And I knew emotional products always outsell logical products because people buy with their feelings first. Third is the margins. So I found a supplier through a fulfillment company called TeamDrop, who could get me the product for $7.50 already fulfilled and delivered. And I knew that I could sell it for around $32 after shipping, which gave me a $24.50 margin before running ads, which gave me plenty of room to be profitable. But here is what really sealed it for me. I watched like 20 different competitors selling this exact same product. Every single one was just showing the book, like the pages, the covers, the features, boring and soulless. They were literally selling it like a textbook, not a transformation. Where the whole market, nobody was building a brand around faith and peace. They were treating it like a commodity. So I wasn't going to compete on price. I was going to compete on the overall purpose. And lastly, low advertising competition. And mind you, I found this on TikTok. And when I checked Facebook ad library, I only saw about 15 stores running ads for prayer journals, and like only 1 or 2 of them were scaling. You compare that to something like resistant bands, where you have 500 active advertisers fighting for the exact same audience. This was clear to me that lower competition at this moment meant lower ad costs. And that is all I needed to know that I could scale this product. And hey, if you're looking for products like this that check all these boxes, I compiled the top 10 winning products for 2026 in a free list, where all of them hit the AAA framework, and the link is in the description. So after this research, I decided that the product was locked. And now I needed to build a brand around it. And I needed to be able to do it in hours, not weeks. Because here's the thing. When you see a product exploding like this, you don't have days to think about it. You really have hours. By tomorrow, this could already be oversaturated. And if I'm late, I missed the entire wave. So I didn't wait. I didn't overthink. I moved straight into building the brand that same day. All right, listen. Most people spend weeks obsessing over the brand, trying to get the perfect logo, the perfect colors, perfect everything, where they're just sitting there wasting time because they're terrified of launching something imperfect. What I'm about to show you is how I got a professional store live in literally less than a day without any of that. So I was able to move fast and focus on what actually matters, the message and not the aesthetics. So look, after building dozens of stores over the years, I've learned that a $30,000 custom design doesn't convert any better than a clean strategic store built in a day. Because the real difference is the message. And that's where most people completely miss the mark. Clarity sells before polish ever does. So what did I do? Well, I used my completely free AI store builder because it already handles the heavy lifting instantly. I mean, in less than 5 minutes, AI built a full Shopify store. It generated clean, on-brand copy sections, set up trust elements, call to actions, and flow. It made the whole store look established from day one, where all I had to do was just guide the message. I dropped in the product, adjusted the language to match the audience, and the store was live the same day. No coding, no let me watch 20 tutorials first. It let me move at the speed that my product deserved. And that's the point. When you're starting with $100, the goal isn't perfection, it's momentum. The AI store builder removes friction so that you can focus on what actually converts, which is really just the offer and the message. All right, look, I want to show you guys the one simple change that will instantly make your store more trustworthy and have customers feeling confident the moment they land on your website. Because look, if your site just doesn't feel trustworthy, customers have no choice but to exit. So how do you fix that? Well, it's simple. And it's by starting with your domain. Switching to a .store domain instantly signals to customers that this is not only a real store, but a real business that they can trust. In fact, my students' brands who are using .store see up to 87% more traffic, cheaper ad costs, and even double the search visibility. And look, right now you can actually grab one for just 99 cents for your entire first year. Plus you get $2,500 in bonuses on other marketing tools, all for just using a .store domain. So if you want your store to look official from day one, then go ahead and use my code ACStore at get.store to get started. I'll also have the link posted right below this video. Now, as for the entire store, I spend most of the time on the product page structure, not just the description, because this is where you either earn trust or lose the sale. From there, the page gently positions a beautiful year in the Bible as a starting point, not a commitment that they have to be perfect at. Instead of aggressive pain agitation, the message reinforces ease, a gentle way to begin with God. No more overwhelm, guided weekly readings, grow in faith, together or alone. This product isn't framed as do more. It's framed as removing friction from an already busy life. So throughout the whole page, we consistently sold these outcomes, staying consistent without pressure, feeling guided instead of lost, having structure without rigidity. Only after the trust is built do we support the story with proof. Thousands of reviews, UGC videos, real photos from customers, a side-by-side comparison showing why the study feels different, clear FAQs answering common objections like, can I start anytime? And what if it's not for me? We didn't obsess over specs like paperweight or binding. Those details did exist, but they were secondary. The core sell is emotional, clarity over chaos, guidance over guilt, progress over perfection, where by the end of day zero, the store looked like a real, established brand. Custom domain, and all throughout it, clean branding. Social proof even layered throughout the page. And at this point, I still haven't even spent $100 yet, because Shopify gives you a free trial, plus your first 3 months for only $1, which is perfect because by day 7, this store was already paying for itself. But more on that later. Now, this is where most people torture bank accounts. They create a brand new Facebook account, launch aggressive conversion campaigns, crank the budget, and then within 24 hours, they're banned. So I decided to do the opposite. Instead of trying to force sales, I ran what I called a spin test. Low budget, traffic only, no pressure. Where the goal for this campaign wasn't profit. It was just honestly a peace of mind. I needed Facebook to see real people were clicking, scrolling, and leaving normally, not bot behavior or scam signals. So I launched a traffic campaign at $10 a day, and I just let it breathe. And on day 1, something happened. I woke up, I checked Shopify, and then there was my first sale. $42 in revenue already on day 1. Now, this wasn't big money, but I could tell that the account was alive and healthy, and that was the only signal that I needed. And now that I have found it, and I saw that the product could work, the plan for the rest of the week was simple. Study what is working and push it without getting reckless. I didn't suddenly flip a switch and go aggressive everywhere. I just stayed controlled, but decisive. I moved from traffic into conversion campaigns, and then I slowly increased spend and tested a few different angles side by side. Not to get creative, but just to see what the market naturally leaned towards. And let me just say, very quickly, one pattern definitely stood out. The quiet, no-face videos, just hands flipping through the pages, they were outperforming everything else. They felt familiar, they felt safe, and that's exactly what the audience was already used to seeing. The UGC style videos, they weren't bad, but they definitely weren't winning. So I did what most people don't do. I cut the noise and I completely fed the winner. From there, The strategy shifted from testing to stacking momentum. Every increase in budget was intentional. Every new campaign was built around what was already proven itself to work, and I wasn't guessing or hoping, where by the end of the week, the store wasn't just making sales, it had real clear direction. The ad account was stable, the pixel was learning, and the product was validated. At that point, about 1 week in, with everything running smoothly and going according to plan, scaling wasn't a gamble anymore. It was the next logical step. But then came day 8, when I ran into something I was not expecting. Day 8 was actually my first losing day. I had negative $14 in profit. And look, I know it's not the end of the world, but when you're 8 days in, you expect momentum, not resistance. I'd ramped up to 34 ads running, and by the end of the day, I didn't even break even. And when I opened up the ads manager, the numbers told the story immediately. I mean, my cost per click had doubled overnight. Click-through rates that were sitting at 3% a week ago had dropped to under 1%. And the frequency metric, the one that tells you how many times the same person is seeing your ad, was sitting at 4.2. That's the death zone. Anything above 2 means that you're showing the same ad to the same people way too many times. They're seeing it. I mean, they're constantly seeing it. They're scrolling past it. And Facebook is charging you more for worse traffic. I'll be real, ad fatigue is brutal. And when you show the same ad to the same audience for a week, the people who are going to buy have already bought. And now you're just burning money reaching people who've already decided that they just don't want it. On top of that, 2 new competitors popped up selling the same product with ads that were exploding way faster than mine. In just over a week, I've already tested over 30 ads and I only had 5 that were still converting. And I knew that if I didn't get new creatives in the next 48 hours, the product was done. So day 9, it was all about damage control. I ordered the product overnight and I paid more in shipping than the product was even worth just to get it in my hands so that I could film new content. Why? Well, because I knew that this was my last shot to push this product and to keep the competitors from completely taking over. So when day 10 came around, I spent the entire day trying to crank out new creatives. And yeah, it helped, but not in the way that I needed. It took hours to film a handful of ads, then more time to edit, then even more time testing. For all that effort, maybe like 1 or 2 would actually work. And that's when it hit me that this just wasn't sustainable. I was already using AI to speed up everything else, the store, the copy, product research. But when it came to ads, I was still doing it the slow, painful way. Filming, editing, writing, I was doing all of it myself. Where all that time I was spending, I was ending up with like 1 ad that might work. And that's when the thought hit me. If AI can build up a store in minutes, why am I still sitting here spending entire days just trying to get a few ads live? So I started looking everywhere in the market for the solution. And I've already seen the other AI ad tools, but most of them are gimmicky, stiff, and like obviously fake. Nothing that I would ever trust with a product that was already on life support. But I kept digging anyways, because at that point, speed mattered way more than perfection. And that's when I came across ARC ads. And what caught me off guard wasn't a feature list. It was how normal it really looked. I'm like scrolling through the previews and thinking, wait, is this a real person? Because the delivery didn't feel robotic. The pacing felt human, and the little pauses felt human as well. It honestly kind of freaked me out how good it was. So I didn't overthink it. I took the same emotional angles that were already working: anxiety, peace, faith, discipline, and then I just wrote them into a way that a real person would talk. And I ran them through ARC. No fancy prompts or over directing, just this is the feeling and say it like a person who's lived it. And within a short window, I had more usable creatives than I've been able to produce all week without filming, waiting, or without turning it into a whole production. And that night, I swapped them into my existing campaigns and I let the data decide. The result? Well, the next day I woke up to $3,000 in revenue. So look, this day, it wasn't just a comeback. It was a reminder. For a second, I was ready to take the L and move on. The old me would have blamed the product, the timing. I would have called it bad luck. The inexperienced version of myself would have looked at day 8, seen that negative $14 and said, see, I knew that it just wasn't gonna work. But this is what running a real business actually looks like. You don't win because you're right from the jump. You win because you keep adjusting. Now, did ARC save the product on its own? No. It was just one of the pivots. What it gave me was speed, and speed bought me time. Time to test new angles, time to let the data catch up, time to stay in the game. Where by day 11, the account fully stabilized. The ads found oxygen again. and the product earned another shot at life. You see, that's the part that just most people don't talk about. Most stores don't fail because of one obstacle. They fail when the problem solving stops. And that day ultimately snapped me back into it. The coming days weren't about reinvention. They were about execution. By day 12, the foundation was locked in. 2 campaigns were carrying the account. Conversions were consistent, and traffic quality stayed strong. That week, we crossed our first real milestone, a $7,000 day. And what's crazy is that was the number that I had written down when I first started. And by then, the store had already passed $44,000 in total revenue with nearly $10,000 in profit in just over 2 weeks. So at that point, the strategy didn't change. I wasn't chasing new ideas or forcing new angles. I was doing the boring work that most people would skip. I cut what slowed down, I scaled what stayed efficient, and I protected margins when performance dipped. Some days pulled back and some days surged. And when ROAS dropped, I didn't panic. I reduced spend, I cut the fat, and I let the campaigns reset. And then eventually when a new ad took over, I just let it run and pushed more money into the things that were working. That rhythm is what carried us throughout the rest of the entire month. And by the end of week 3, we had done over $47,000 in revenue, with more than $8,000 in profit in just 7 days. That week alone, we pulled in more than the first 2 combined. Now, I still wasn't quite at that 100K yet, but hey, I knew that I was definitely getting close. Close enough to feel it. Close enough to know that it was happening. And I'm not gonna lie, at this point, I did get a bit cocky. I mean, I was going around telling everyone that we were going to hit that 100K on day 24. In fact, I even remember saying to myself over and over again, day 24, that's for my boy Kobe. Because honestly, I mean, in my head, it wasn't even a question. I mean, the momentum was there. The numbers made sense. And the store was hot. I pretty much treated it like destiny. Then day 23 closed. And we were still a few grand short of where we projected to be. Not far, but far enough to feel it. And I'll be real, that's when the confidence stopped feeling fun and started feeling loud. So that night, I didn't chase anything new. No wild scaling, no panic ads, no desperate angles. I actually did the complete opposite. I tightened everything. I completely cut spending where efficiency slipped. I leaned harder into the campaigns that have already proven themselves. And I made sure nothing was bleeding unnecessarily. Where the goal wasn't to force the win. It was just to protect momentum long enough for the system to finish the job. The next morning, I checked the store and we were moving. But we were not there yet. Now, I could have sat there refreshing the page every 10 minutes like a psycho, but that doesn't change anything. So I set a rule, 5 p.m. That's when I check again, and not a single minute before. I spent that day with my son. I went outside, I cleared my head. I tried not to think about it. But I'll be real, the whole time, that 5 p.m. deadline was just sitting in the back of my mind. Then eventually, 5 o'clock came. I pulled out my phone. $102,000. We did it. 6 figures in 24 days with $27,000 in profit. And look, I need you to understand something. This wasn't about proving that I could do it. This was about proving that you could do it. For the last 8 years, I've watched thousands of people sit on the sidelines, convincing themselves that they'd missed the boat, that dropshipping is officially dead, that if you weren't there in 2020, you are screwed, and you may as well not even try. Meanwhile, other people are out here building 6-figure stores in less than a month. So look, dropshipping isn't what's dead. Your own belief in yourself is. You're not failing because the opportunity is magically gone. You're failing because you're waiting for perfect conditions that will never come. You're waiting for more money, you're waiting for more time, more confidence. But every single day you wait is a day that someone else is winning with the exact same opportunity that you missed. And I'm not saying that to stress you out. I'm saying it because I care about you guys actually winning. Because the difference between people who make money and people who don't is never been about talent. It's about acceleration. And here's the part that is going to sting for some of you. The reason why you haven't started isn't because you don't know how. It's because you're way more comfortable with the idea of success than the real reality of the work behind it. You love watching videos like this. You love imagining what it could feel like to hit 6 figures. You love the idea of freedom. But when it comes time to actually sit down, find a product, build a store, launch ads, deal with the stress, handle the setbacks, you disappear. And I get it. It's scary, it's uncomfortable, and it feels like you might crash. But let me tell you something that's even way scarier. You waking up in 5 years from now in the exact same place that you are in right now, in the same job with the same income, giving the same excuses, watching from the sidelines of other people living a life that you convinced yourself wasn't possible. That's the real failure. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop treating this like entertainment. Stop watching these videos like they're Netflix and stop learning from people who haven't done what you want to do in years. If you're serious, if you actually want this, then take that free winning product list that I gave you right below this video in the description. Then take it to my next video of how to start Shopify dropshipping in 2026 and follow along step by step so you can set yourself up for actual transformation in 2026. Because the only way you lose is if you never play. And if you do this, if you actually commit, I promise you, you're going to look back 6 months from now and wonder why you ever doubted yourself in the first place. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you in that next video. This is AC with Supreme Ecom, and I'm out.